What's going on, everyone? Nick Daniels here, coming at you live, man. Yet again, just literally got back from the theater probably about 2 minutes ago, and we're gonna talk about the movie 65 with Adam Driver. Lamp just died there, of course, mid video. That's pretty good. So anyway, we're gonna spoil the movie because I just need to tell you how bad it was. I would say like it's a solid like 1 out of 10, and I want to explain why. So yeah, so spoiler alert, we're gonna spoil the movie. Not much to spoil though, to be honest. So yeah, movie starts up. It's Adam Driver with this like kid on a beach, in like basically sweatpants. Those are like that's like futuristic clothing. It's always just sweatpants for some reason. Anyway, he's got his kid on a beach and some like random wife that we see for like probably about a minute. And anyway, he's like, I'm going on some exploration mission for like 2 years, and it just cuts to him like waking up, and they're in an asteroid belt, and he's like, oh my god. And like, I don't understand, like I have problems with the movie like right off the hop. So like apparently they just like weren't aware of that was coming, and that's fair. That you know was uncharted, like it's space, things are gonna happen. So I was just surprised that he wasn't like prepared for that because he was sleeping. Anyway, so they got a bunch of like passengers in cryo sleep, and like all of them basically perish. He ends up hitting the asteroids and crashing, and except one apparently lives. Some kid that like can't speak English, but for some reason he'll say like English words to her, like move or fly, and she can just pronounce them like easily and accurately. And I just you're not really gonna do that, and probably until you're actually like knowing how to speak English. So I didn't buy it. Anyway, though, yeah, so he gets to the planet, the crash on the planet. He's like gonna kill himself, and like you don't even know why, and they just bait that out. So you're like, all right, that's how this is gonna go. And like, yeah, everybody's dead, so he's obviously like depressed, and it's just him. Half the ship like rips apart, which is what I don't get. But then he's got the mask on, like he's got like a helmet and stuff to like go out, and like obviously doesn't know if like he can breathe the air. But like half the ship's already gone, so I don't understand. Like it was like literally ripped out behind him. So maybe it was messy. I don't understand, but I feel like I grasped what I saw, and that just didn't make any sense. But anyway, he crashes on Earth. So this is before Earth was actually like colonized by anything other than like dinosaurs. And I think that what they're baiting the entire movie is like the big asteroid that eventually will take out the dinosaurs. But a buddy of mine that was there, and he'll know who he is, said that's not how that went down. Like that wouldn't have worked, like the asteroid and all that, the way they had it. So yeah, I don't know. Leave that up to the masses. So the majority of the movie is basically he's got to get to like not like 15 kilometers away from himself, where there's like an escape pod in like the other half of the ship that somehow has survived and intact, by the way, and workable. And anyway, he puts out a distress beacon. I guess they're gonna like meet him like around Earth. They couldn't just come down and get him, so he's got to like get that and go up. And it's like, all right, cool. So he obviously brings like this 9-year-old girl that he finds that doesn't speak English, but again, like I'm pretty sure she speaks English. Brings her along, and it's like, okay, cool. And I don't buy it. Like the whole thing in between is like they just bait. Like no one's gonna die. There's never, there's a scene where like a bunch of like not even like velociraptors, like I don't even know what they are or if they're even a thing, but some kind of dinosaur that obviously eats meat comes up, and like he's killing them, like he's just shooting them with his gun, and anyway, like that's fine, right? Like he takes a couple out. I was like, all right, I can buy that, just some energy gun or something he uses. Later on, he goes up into a tree, and he falls down and looks like he dislocates his arm or shoulder. And you're like, oh shit, like, his right arm, like he's gonna just run. So he's trying to like get it back into place, like he's like smashing it into a tree. And somehow this kid, this 9-year-old, knows to stand on his arm so he can like brace and then hit it and like get it back up. And then he immediately just draws the rifle and starts killing them all. So he starts killing them. The kid just runs because she's like, get out of here. And obviously she just somehow knows. So she runs out down to like the beach, and there's like a bunch, I don't forget the name of them, but the birds, but the bigger ones, right? Anyway, so a couple of the meat eaters come down. they just gruesomely kill one, and then when they go to her, they're just sitting there like basically 2 feet in front of her, not touching her. And one of them, she gets saved, obviously, and then one of them still drags her by like her sweater, like 50 feet away. And I just don't buy it. Like that just wouldn't happen. None of that would happen in that scenario. You know, they would have just killed her. But obviously, you know, you can't kill a main character. So, yeah, you know, you have to deal with what it is. It's like an Interstellar thing. Like he's like looking at old tapes of his daughter. So obviously, like while he's been gone, she's died or something. Who knows with the wife? We got no idea what's going on there. And again, like how long he's been gone, we don't even know. They don't like the movie literally opens by a text scroll at the bottom of the screen. Like there's text that just tells you what's going on in the movie. Anytime that happens, the movie's bad. There's no way around it. You know it's trash the moment it opens up, and it's like, and it's like, oh, this is the planet Earth. We are discovering new planets. Okay. So anyway, that's trash. So yeah, so they basically just like they'll just randomly put in jokes. Like his hand gets sticky from killing a big bug. So then like that's supposed to be like comic relief. She puts like a flower in his hair. I heard people laughing in the theater. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, what is funny about any of this movie? The jump scares are just ridiculous. I don't even know if it's supposed to be a horror movie, but like every single time you thought like they would just like show you something, like if some random dinosaur just jumps out and just like shrieks at Adam Driver. And it's just real. It was actually really aggravating after like the second one. So yeah, so that's like a majority of the movie is just them doing that, and I don't appreciate it. I thought that just really took away from the movie itself. You know, just let us try to enjoy what it is. It's got an hour and a half runtime, right? It's not a long movie by any means. And, you know, like we need the time to enjoy and get into this movie. And yeah, it doesn't happen. So anyway, yeah, they kind of bait and switch this T-Rex a few times. We'll get into that in a minute. But they go into this cave to sleep, and he puts up some random, like, sticks around them in a circle. And what it looks like is some kind of sensor to be like, okay, like maybe this is like some alert system. I don't know. Anyway, so the girl gets like some random creature in her mouth, and like she's like foaming at the mouth, and he gets the thing out with like a stick. Again, I don't understand like how he would even know to do that or anything. And then of course the only good scene in my opinion is like there's like a lightning flash in the distance, and at the roof of the cave it's like raining because it's like a thunderstorm. So it's raining at the roof of the cave, and behind the water that's dripping down in front of the cave, it's what you see in the trailer. You see like the silhouette of the T-Rex right there. So I thought that was actually kind of nice. That was probably like the only good thing about the movie. Anyway, so they go into like this cave system, which this is just another thing that I don't understand. So they go to this cave system, and he's like, all right, like I hear like air, like wind, right? So he gets her, he puts like a little bomb, and they've showed these like once or twice. He puts a little bomb inside in this crevice to like blow out a way for her to crawl through and in him. And then it just caves in, but it looks so confusing. Like it looks like they're like going towards each other, but she must be in front. Anyway, he caves in, and he gets all pissed off. Like you put an explosive into a cave. I don't know what you were thinking. And he eventually just walks out another way and links up with her. Like, I don't understand, like, how that made any sense, that they couldn't have just done that from the get-go. Like, she just leaves, and he's just, like, okay with it. Anyway, so when they get out, he gets stuck in quicksand. You know, I don't know how, like, people clearly in the theater thought that he wasn't going to make it, which is just ridiculous. Like, obviously, he's going to live. And he does. And she saves him. So I was like, cool. And she gets this little velociraptor, whatever you want to call it, stuck in this little tree trunk that wouldn't be able to get out, like it's laying on its side. She gets it stuck in there, and then she throws in bombs and kills it. Like she could just leave it and save the bombs. I was like, all right. So they get to the ship, and she learns that her family is dead. Her parents were on the ship too, and they didn't make it. And he's like, well, I could, like, obviously I couldn't say any, like, I tried to tell you, but, like, you don't understand me. I'm like, I don't have a translator. I was like, all right. And so they're still cool with it. They hug it out. And obviously the T-Rexes now finally show up, and when they're at the shuttle. and he shoots one, and it looks like he kills it or something. And the other one they use they used a hologram to bait it out, so it tried to kill the hologram. The other one he's like, okay, cool, I gotta be a little more creative, but he gets it, and it's like, all right. The first one comes back by the looks of it. It stands back up, and then you learn it's not even a T-Rex. It's got like 4 legs rather, but it was like moving and looks like a T-Rex, and it's running after him on all 4 legs. I can't get this out of my mind, and he runs away from it. He's like, launch the ship, like the little shuttle, and he runs, and this thing doesn't catch him. I'm really surprised. I just thought they would be a little quicker than that. It's got 4 legs. Yes, it's bigger, but I big legs too. Like the legs are as big as him, right? Yeah, it doesn't catch up, and yeah, eventually he gets back to this spot in the beginning of the movie where he saw basically these, like, I wouldn't even call them acid, but maybe that's what it is, like some acid pools or something. So he gets up to those, and you're like, all right, cool. Like he's just gonna try to burn this thing, and he does, and it doesn't really succeed. The girl somehow caught up, okay? A 9-year-old girl somehow caught up to them. They were like 200 feet away or something. Like they were like a crazy distance away. She caught up, and like 40 minutes into the movie, she found a bone, like a tooth bone or whatever you want to call it. And she like wrapped it up in like berries that apparently weren't good. She was gonna eat them, and he has a little like I don't even know what, like a pouch, and it like flashed red, and he was like, you can't eat those, and like threw them away. So like that's all that was, and she mushed them in a leaf and put on the end of the bone, like she stabbed it, and she jumps up with that bone now, out of nowhere, by the way, never like showed it again until this point, jumps up and stabs this thing in the eye with that bone, and it dies from like the acid that pops up. That's the thumbnail of the video right there. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, so they get in the shuttle, and it couldn't even take off because the orientation of it was wrong. It was upside down. Well, the T-Rex or whatever flipped it. So you're like, all right, cool. And anyway, so they're like, yeah, we're going to fly out of here. So they literally just go straight up, and they've got like this big asteroid that's coming down, right? So that's obviously like, I think it's like looking like it's the end of the dinosaurs, but it's obviously not. It looks like they just made like Mordor. Anyway, so they just fly out of there, and I'm not even joking you. Like it literally, like it's going out like this, right? Like it's going out like that, and then the credits just roll. Like right there, like it just like it shows like the little dot, right? Like where like just follow my hand, like where like look at this where it'd be going, like it's like going out to space, and then it's just like credits. Like it's just I actually like that I followed my hand too like that. I think that's funny. Yeah, what a horrible movie. I think like the acting was like a 1, the plot was a 1, everything else was a 1. Yeah, it was a 1. It was a 1 out of 10. I honestly, like, I've seen some pretty bad movies, but that's got to be one of the worst films I've ever seen. Thanks for watching, guys.